All right, well, let's get started. Welcome to Ambition Office Hours. I am Mindy Whitman. I'm an Enterprise Customer Success Manager, and today with me I have Chad. You want to say hi?
Chad Trofton, same thing as Mindy, so we're on the same team, representing our enterprise team. So some of you guys might have the opportunity to work with us. For the new faces, excited to have you here, and hopefully give you guys some good thoughts on how to leverage competitions and incentives as we go forward through today.
Definitely. So yeah, we're going to be touching on competitions. That's all the fun stuff. I love this. And we'll talk about all types of different incentives and ways to reward your employees.
Absolutely. So first things first, I know some of you guys are probably seasoned, grizzled ambition vets. So some of this may be duplicative, but I want to make sure that we start from the very bottom. So obviously ambition competitions, we think through the best ways to leverage these. We have a lot of flexibility here. So you can be down to the most granular level of having, an individual versus an individual, or you can have it team-based, whatever works best for your team's model. You guys can leverage whatever level of the hierarchy within ambition that you have. That's where you can compete on. So it allows you to really be as flexible as your hierarchy is set up and compete at any of those levels. And then additionally to just our traditional competitions, we also have fantasy competitions. I've seen a lot of our teams leverage this, more traditionally around, more North American style fantasy football. It's very, based off of, you play a weekly bracket, there's playoffs, things like that. So it provides a lot of flexibility as well to teams to think through new and different ways to compete. So many of the sales competitions were historically are, Excel files, and people are tracking how fast you get to a certain target, a race to the top. So we try to provide as much flexibility as possible as we go through these. And one of the fun things we'll take you through today is, as many of the next slide, is just some of the ways you can leverage not only just the ambition competition, but what do you do on the back end of that competition? Some things that I think Mindy and I talk a lot about with our customers are, I don't have budget. What do I do? Or people don't respond to, the gift cards have run out of steam. People aren't responding as well to, a Target gift card and things like that. So we wanted to call out some really cool things that we've done at Ambition. And we've got some things from some of our customers. So I actually was able to receive an award last year from one of our former marketing VPs, and I won a competition, and she sponsored a sea turtle at the National Sea Turtle Center. And so we were able to help the aquarium where this was at, and do some goodwill for the environment. And also it was fun. It was really cool. It was something that to me it meant a lot more than just getting a $50 gift card or something like that. Like, it was a gift that kept on giving. And then I think really what Ambition's really core features is our sales team has competitions yearly. And the prize is not monetary. The prize is a billboard of your choosing in the town of your choosing, with whatever you would like to have on that. So you can see some cool examples here. We've got some folks that made it more sports related up here with the UT grads. We've got some of the UGA grads we've got down here. Then we've got folks that made it a little more salesy. Give me a call. I'm Matt King. Put it up on a billboard right in downtown Nashville to talk about Ambition. So just fun things that you guys can think through. Like they do have a cost associated, but it's a little different than just getting that gift card out there. And one of the last things I'll talk about before we turn it over to Mindy to talk through more ideas we have and kind of customer best practices around incentives. Everyone that's registered for this session today will get a copy of this video and the PowerPoint as well. But these resources right here are just great opportunities to find different competitions ideas, ways to motivate your teams, especially now that we're all trying to, we're kind of in this middle thing as we talk with our customers with, some of the customers are sort of going back to the office. Some people are still at home. So I know everyone's still trying to figure out, the model of engaging those resources until people are back in the office. And then, there'll be a whole different discussion of once we get back in the office, how do we kind of kick things back off and set us on the right path there as well. So hopefully you guys will get a lot out of some of these links here. And then now Mindy can take us through some really cool ideas around other ways to leverage incentives.
So again, this is all about the fun stuff today, and thinking about some things that you can do that won't cost any money. So first place prize, they pick the YouTube anthem of the week. That's really fun because it can be super competitive, especially when you are looking at sports teams, or you can be, fun and add it to, make somebody else's team have the Baby Shark anthem. I mean, hey, let's just be ridiculous. Lunch with leadership, that can be over Zoom too, by the way. Half day Fridays, or the snooze button, let them sleep in and come in late to work a couple of hours. Punish your manager. This is one that we actually did here at Ambition that I'll show you on the next slide. But just, praising the winner, LinkedIn endorsements. There's a lot of different ideas that you can do to incentivize your team that doesn't cost anything. Last summer, we had our SDR team at Ambition held a competition, and the grand prize was that the person would get to pick the haircut for our CRO and founder, Jared Houghton. And this is actually the haircut. I'm sorry, this is funny. It makes me laugh every single time. We blasted this all over LinkedIn. So if you are a manager and you are brave enough, and you might need a COVID haircut, I don't know, but if you're brave enough to put that out there, that could be a really good incentive. And again, doesn't cost any money, maybe your pride a little bit, but no money involved. And then now that we are starting to go back to pre-COVID or post-COVID or whatever we're looking at now that things are starting to slowly open up, when you're looking at, monetary type ideas, looking at the StubHub gift card, Southwest gift card, let's start traveling again. As Chad had mentioned earlier, the billboard in the hometown. I don't know if you have a company car, but drive the company car for a month. A lot of different ways to get creative. So when you are looking at incentivizing your employees, you can do that through different avenues inside Ambition. And we're going to do a demo after this as well. But you can actually award them inside the competitions because you have your rank and you have your threshold. And that's where you can outline different prize options. You can also do that inside accolades. So when you are tying an accolade, whether it's a discretionary accolade or you're tying it to a specific metric, you can note inside the accolade those incentives. So you can see here, this one says 1 PTO day, or perhaps it's a monetary $1,000 bonus, so on and so forth. You can also mark your incentives inside goals. So that you can see here in the example, reach your February new leads target and receive a Southwest gift card. So a lot of different ways that you can really communicate that even in remote times. So we've also included, as Chad mentioned, you will get a copy of this deck and all of these links will work here, but we included some resources for these budget-friendly ideas. Do you want to go in and do a demo for us, Chad?
Yeah, of course. I want to pause, maybe see if there's any initial questions, some of the ideas. Maybe would love to see anybody on the chat that has any exciting or fun things that you guys have done with your teams. Would love to hear some of the ideas and the ways you guys have incentivized your teams, whether it's through Ambition or other competitions you guys have done. Anybody have anything great they'd like to share? Perfect. Well, we'll jump into, make sure you can drop those in the chat if you have any ideas that you want to share with the team. I'm going to jump in now and share my screen and go through we got a great one here from Jacqueline. That's a great idea, Jacqueline, with everybody being at home right now. We've seen some other customers do like DoorDash gift cards, Uber Eats. So that's a great idea, Jacqueline. So definitely, especially leveraging that now while we're all still sort of figuring out how to go back into the world and a little bit more normalcy. So great to see that. So guys, I'm going to go jump in now and share my screen, take you through sort of just a refresher training around Ambition competitions. We'll talk through some of the things that I see other customers use, competitions, how they leverage, how maybe you guys could leverage some of the functions within competitions as well. So I'm sharing here my sandbox. So I'm going to come in here down to Ambition competitions we're going to create. So coming here, we're going to build one out. Obviously, like we talked about earlier, two styles of competition within Ambition are traditional, more North American style fantasy football. So you're going to have some parameters there. You'll follow a little more structure that you'll have to follow. So set 2-week playoff time frame, a minimum of 2 weeks regular season. You can customize the time frame, the length of the competition. It's going to randomly select teams every week, so you're not going to have to worry about seeding and bracketing. It's a really fun way to interact over a longer period of time. We recommend it's a minimum of a month-long competition, but flexibility. I've seen customers use fantasy competitions over 6-month long-term competitions. So a lot of flexibility there. But for today, I'm going to take you guys through building out a more traditional competition, a multi-metric challenge, because that's what we see, a ton of usage out of. So we'll jump over here to create. Obviously, in Ambition, it's extremely easy to build these out. So we're going to make this a test multi-metric comp for this exercise. So I think one of the most great features within the platform itself is, so much of what we try to do is to put time back on managers' calendars. And I think being able to leverage Ambition's recurring competitions feature is a huge piece of that. So rather than, say you wanted to have a Monday morning call blitz or something every week for your teams, rather than having to remember to do that, you can set this up one time with a recurrence, set the initial start time, the date. It recurs every week on Monday, and you can set it and forget it. And that's what we're trying to do for you guys, is find more and more ways throughout the platform that you guys can drive value for your teams without adding anything to your plate, without adding another step or more things. We understand how busy you guys are. It's all about us trying to drive efficiencies for you guys. So we're gonna keep this as one off just for the sample today. So we'll make this a competition for today. This is the 20th. We're going to start this. I'm going to choose a fun fact that I always like to remember is if you're ever building out a competition and you want to make sure you're pulling in everything for that day, if you ever choose, say it's 9 a.m. and you're like, hey, I want to build a competition for this afternoon, but I wanted to give the whole day's performance. You can choose 12 a.m. and that's going to bring in all the data for this entire day for your competition. So we'll go ahead and choose 12 a.m. so that way my whole team can be brought in and everything they've already done since we're already halfway through the day. Choose my time zone here. And it's going to end. I'm going to end this competition at 3 o'clock. That way it gives me time to whoever the winner is going to get to go home early today. So I'm going to end this at 3, gives me time to find out the winner and then let that person know they can leave at 4. So we'll jump down here now that we selected our time frame. Again, this is a competition that's all day up until 3 p.m. So now we're going to choose who's competing, right? This is the most repeatable thing across Ambition. And again, I know many of you guys that are on the call are probably seasoned POs, so this is a bit repetitive for you, but Ambition hierarchy, however you guys have built this out for your teams, your hierarchy is custom, obviously, to each of our customers, but whatever levels you guys have, you can compete on within Ambition. So like we talked about, whether it's a team-based or a user-based, you can choose that at any level. We're going to make this I'm making this a competition within the folks on my team. So I'm going to choose user. And then I'm going to choose within, I'm going to navigate, I'm going to find my inbound sales rep team. So I have a team here within my sandbox. It's about 7 folks. So I want those 7 folks to compete on a couple of metrics for this day. So I've chosen now, if we go back and we look through the progress we've made so far, we've named our competition, we've established the time frame and the length and the duration, and now we've set who's going to be able to compete over that time frame, and now we get to choose on what they're competing on. So this is where I think things get really fun in terms of being able to leverage multiple metrics and be able to play with, how you want to, whatever the most important thing to you guys is. So for example, I want to make this one of the metrics for today we're going to compete on is calls. So I just want this to be calls, and I'm going to choose value here because I want whoever gets, however many points you want to make, however many calls you want to make, you're going to get 1 for 1 for that. But say, there's really been a big, you guys, your sales leaders are coming to you to say, hey, I want to really incentivize, look, activity is fantastic. I want to see activity that drives the numbers, but really I want to focus on, closed won opportunities, or, we'll choose this one for appointments held. So that's really what we want to, that's our bellwether, meetings set, meetings held, or what drives, so much of our team. So say I wanted to come here and make sure, hey, calls are important, but appointments held is really the most important piece of what we're trying to do today. And what we've enabled within Ambition to be able to support that is the points model. So what I can come down here now and say, so for the calls we selected, it's value. So it's just 1 for 1. You make 50 calls, you get 50 points. But for appointments held, I really want people to be able to knock it out of the water for those folks that are really holding meetings, because ultimately that's what drives our revenue for our business. So I'm going to make this 50 points for every metric value. So what that's done is every time a rep holds a meeting, they're going to get 50 points for that, and that's going to be able to propel them beyond the people that are just hitting the phones all day long. Those folks that are actually holding meetings are the ones that are going to be, because that's the activity that I'm trying to drive. So I wanted to call this out because it gives you guys the opportunity to come in and say, hey, calls are important, but let's talk about the things that are actually driving our business And it allows you also some flexibility to come back in here and say, you can choose min values. It's going to say, hey, I'll give you, you need to make 20 calls before you get any credit for anything. Or we can set and say, hey, I don't want you to be able to use the phone book and make 150 calls to nobody and win this competition. So you can put a max out here and say, hey, I'm not going to give you credit past 25 calls. Every other point you get for this competition is going to be, it means that you're going to need to make connections on those phone calls you're making, and you'll be setting and holding meetings. So a lot of flexibility in here for you guys as leaders to make pull the levers within the scoring, the other parameters within the setup to be able to drive the most important organizational goals that you guys are going after. So I'll keep this set up. So again, like we said, we've got the 1-for-1 for calls, and we've got the 50 points for every meeting held. You can choose a couple extra benches to leave up to 5 now in any competition ambition, but we're going to leave this for 2 for now. And this is where it's going to kind of come together around what Mindy was taking us through earlier. So now that you get to prizes, again, this is optional, but we do have 2 different styles of how you guys build this out. So you can choose a rank, so you can build a first, second, third. We do things in ambition sometimes that aren't backed by money or anything like that. So it's high 5, low 5, no 5. It's just whatever we can do to drive that engagement ultimately for us. Not every competition has a big flashy prize at the end of it. It's just about driving those numbers up and being engaged with our teams. And the other side of this, which is really built with recognition in mind, right? We're all trying to find ways to, especially folks that still have their teams remote, trying to find ways that you can recognize folks in different opportunities. So here with Threshold, you may not have been first, second, and third on this competition, but we now have a way to leverage to say, hey, if you got over 50 points in this competition, that's pretty good. That means you either set a meeting today or you had 50 calls a day, which is well beyond your daily target. So I want to be able to shout those people out anyway. So you can put here, great job today. And those folks that hit over this value will be able to be recognized for, hey, like I said, you didn't win the competition, but you had a great day, and I appreciate it. And that's what it's all about. That's we're building this out. So again, you can add multiple layers to this. You could add another one and say, get over 100. You can go up there. So a lot of different opportunities to be able to pick and choose what you guys want to drive off of there. So we will save this. And then the last piece is where it really gets fun around just building this out into where you want to send this. So obviously the best thing is we're back in the office and getting to leverage Ambition TVs. But right now, while you guys are being able to leverage the Ambition TV URL, you can come down. I can choose my sales TV and then instantly be able to send this competition to one of my TVs. So in real time, I've been able to create that competition. I've been able to recognize reps that hit targets. I've been able to kick the competition off, pull in historical data for the full day, and then ultimately broadcast this out to my Ambition TV. So that way people are getting publicly recognized that there's an engagement taking place within their teams. Your reps obviously be recognized or will be notified that they've been enrolled in the competition. They'll get an email. It'll be within their dashboard as well. So we kind of have plenty of different areas where they're going to have insights into what they've chosen, and then we can go out and I can go down to my TV and then be able to visualize very easily one of the let me find our competition here. Right here. So we come down to this one, we'll be able to preview this really quickly and show that experience. So now we're already seeing it's already pulled in all the historical data for these reps for the day. I've got 7 reps on this team, so it's always going to show the top 5 for a competition. So you'll be able to see who those top 5 are. Obviously, their pictures will be able to be visualized. So again, I know that there's been some challenges with folks that are out of the office and being able to get the full value out of the TVs, but this is a great way to be able to leverage the Ambition URL capability to engage with your reps, to recognize them for the hustle that they're putting in on these competitions, and to just drive further engagement. So I'll pause there. I'll stop sharing and see if there's questions, things like that we can answer for you guys. And please don't hesitate to ask questions about competitions or other things like that as well.
Looks like we have one question from Caleb. When including something like inbound and outbound calls as a parameter of a competition, is there a way to filter out shorter calls, such as voicemails?
Yeah, that would be, Caleb, that would just be on the metric side. So that wouldn't be within the actual framework of the competition where you could say, hey, exclude this. That would be we'd have to work with you guys on an individual basis to look at that metric, and we could build a filter out to exclude metrics, exclude voicemails or things like that based off of, call disposition, voicemail, things like that. So that would be just handled on the metric side, not actually within the competition itself.
And I have another one here too. Can you backdate a competition? So if you were supposed to have started a competition on Monday and today is Wednesday and you forgot to, can you backdate the competition to start Monday and pull in data from there?
I don't know if there's I don't know if there's any limit for how far back we go, but you can pull in a competition. Fantasy doesn't have that same capability to go backwards in time, but we can go if we choose a time frame for a competition. You can go in and make a historical competition start. It'll just pull in that data that you've had already populated, that already exists for you within Ambition to leverage via analytics and all of that. So it would just use that historical data to go, say if I wanted to make that competition we built today for Monday, we can start that back and pull in that historical data.
Perfect.
Anything else, guys?
I don't see any other questions at the moment. No.
Maybe if there's nothing else, maybe we could put some time back on folks' calendars for today. Like I said, anybody that was registered will be able to receive the copy of this, the marketing rundown, and then the information and slides as well. So we'll get that out to you guys. And obviously, if you ever have any additional questions about competitions, feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to reach out to your CSM, our support team as well. They're world-class. So anything we can do to support you guys, that's what we're here for. And we appreciate your time joining office hours today.
Awesome. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you.
Everybody.